Survivor News.
Survivor News. Survivor News. Survivor News.
Survivor News. Survivor News. Survivor News. Survivor News. Survivor News. Survivor News. Survivor News.
What's up? It's Brice.
It's your boy Wendell.
And it's Jack, and we're your baby boys.
Get ready for a new episode of
Survivor News.
And we are back this week with your Survivor News. We're joined by Jack Atkins from season 2 of the Netflix show, The Circle. What's up, baby boy?
What's happening, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Purple Pants Podcast. And let me introduce to you what is the Wen to the DZ. You may know him from HGTV. You may know him as the first merge boot of Winners at War or the winner of Ghost Island. Wen DZ, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Brice Isaiah. And we are back with our battle of the hosts. We're gonna see who it is that will moderate today.
I think
It's always me. Wait, Wendell, you got to introduce Brice with a impression of me now. It's got to go full triangle.
Oh, that's
Don't
difficult.
do me dirty.
You know what I'm saying? This guy, he's my bro. He's my big bro. He's from. I can't do it, Jack.
I was honestly decent enough.
Yeah,
I thought that was decent.
the baby boy himself. You know, that's all I got.
Original baby boy.
The OG.
the OG of the BB. Oh, that bell is right next to the microphone. But listen, we are back this week, and we are, when DZ and I are fresh back from the West Coast. Jack is still in the West Coast, and spoiler alert, we wanted to record a little earlier, but when DZ had to do something, and when DZ was blowing up the chat group, like, Jack, are you up? Jack, wake up. I can record now. And Jack was like,
It's true. It's not Pacific Standard Time.
Right.
Daylight savings when he threw me for a loop.
If we rewind a little further, though, baby boy Jack all last night was like, yeah, anytime, just hit me. You know what I'm saying? We good, just hit me. Just let me know. I'm like, I'm going to just hit him.
No, fair enough. I have to be awake, though.
Yeah.
Which
I hit you all afternoon, Jack.
no, the thing. Well, over on the West Coast, it's midday, so you know that's my time to. No. When we record, when I get a heads up, you know I could get up. But if I'm allowed to just sleep in real late, I'm gonna sleep in real late.
Listen.
Until what time?
First of
I
all,
got
when
up
DZ,
it was between 12 and 2 p.m.
I mean, that's pretty good. When DZ, you
Okay,
still
2 p.m.
you still new to the Survivor News. You know, this has been an ongoing issue with Jack and I since the inception of our friendship, is that I don't understand Jack's sleeping patterns.
It's because you don't understand time zones, Brice.
No, I
Brice will
understand.
call me. I'll wake up at I admit my sleep schedule is messed up, but when I wake up at 1 p.m. and Brice FaceTimes me, he's like, "Bitch, it's 4 p.m. What are you?" I was like, "No, Brice, it's 1 p.m. where I'm at." He's like, "That's not how it works."
It doesn't matter. Jack is just a sleepy head. However, you know,
Sure.
this Wednesday when we were in LA, Jack was anything but sleepy. We were outside at St. Felix for Brice and Wen Presents 44, the tour, and it was truly amazing. The crowd was epic. I mean, I feel like, you know, we had some Circle royalty in the building. I literally performed surgery on Mitchell on his shoulder 4 hours before and wrapped him up, and he was there with my girl Tammy, and we, you know, it was a great time. We had Cole and my baby daddy Jack Strayed pull up, but yeah, I thought
What? Who pulled up?
Jack Straight.
I mean, Jay Starrett, who I love
Jack
dearly.
Straight.
Jack was straying it. Uh, but yeah, it was an amazing couple of days. What would you say, gentlemen?
I had a great time.
Oh, yeah. Before you even
Well,
get your response,
no,
Jack.
don't
No,
see.
listen.
No,
So
don't do it.
the episode is going on. We had some surprise guests, which was amazing. And,
Yeah.
after the party, we like to, have a good time, talk to people. And, I'm happen to be outside with Joey the Hatch. Shout out to Joey Hatch. And we're talking, and somebody comes up and is like, y'all need to get Wendell. His shirt is off. We run back in, and when Wendell, why was your shirt coming off?
Listen here, okay. It see what happened was
And it happened more than once.
it only happened once.
No, it happened more than once.
Well, here's the thing. I got myself into the predicament, so I had to get myself out of it. Okay, so it's not the first time I ended up swapping shirts with someone at the watch party. This particular shirt happened to be a little too small for me, and it ended up being a whole crop top on me. Okay, and it was hard to put on, so it took me a while to put on my dad bod. So there were a lot of people standing around looking at me as I was situating my new shirt. Okay, and then at a certain point, I realized that this shirt was a little too small for me, and then I had to get up out of it. Okay, so I had to abort mission, and I put on a different shirt. That's it.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's interesting when I'm watching Survivor with Jack, because something happened during the episode. I was like running, dodging through people, and I was like, Jack, wait, we gotta talk about this. Did you just see what happened? And Jack was like, Brice, save it for the pod. I said, oh.
No, that's not what I said. I said, Brice, I was trying to watch, but I was talking with one of the guests, and I couldn't pay attention because they kept nudging me and talking. So I missed it all. I had to rewatch it.
Yeah, at one point in time, I was looking for Jack, and Jack found a little nook in the back of the table. I was like, Jack, I'm watching the episode. But yeah, LA definitely did not disappoint. It was a couple of, little drizzle, little drip drop days before. And like in Toronto, Mother Nature, she tried to cast a spell, and she did a little snowstorm. But the snowstorm didn't work. We get to LA. I thought it doesn't rain in Southern California. Okay. It was giving drippy, droppy, drip, 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 drop, drop. Okay. And listen, I had to call Mother Nature up. I said, boom, 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 boom. Ring. It said, hum. I said, hey, girl, hey. The baby boy Jack, he sleep, but he coming out tomorrow. When DZ is here, he don't have a shirt. I need for you to do me a favor. Mother Nature said, what's up? I said, make the rain stop. We pulled up to St. Felix one DZ. What happened?
The rain stopped. We were driving through. It was a beautiful day in sunny LA.
Oh.
Bars.
Okay. Jack, can you finish that 8-piece?
It was a beautiful day in sunny LA. You don't know that song, Jack?
I mean, I just wanted him to finish
is that a
it.
song or is that a...
I know you wanted him to, I was trying to act like we had another song for him.
Well, Jack knows that's coming later.
Oh yeah. But yeah, the watch party was great. So many people pulled up. Some of my friends from Netflix Perfect Match pulled up. Some of my boys from just my general squad were there. Caution was killing it on the DJ booth. So yeah, it was just a great time.
Yeah, it was epic. You think Jack's tall? Jack's got a 7-foot friend. Well, actually, he's our friend now, because I tried to walk by him and act like I wonder if you gonna notice it's me. So I was like, he tapped me on the head and was like, what's up? I was like, oh.
Didn't see you up there.
Didn't see you there. But again, shout out to everyone that came. There were so many people from Perfect Match. There were some bachelors in the building. And also, let me just say this about your friend Mitchell.
Keep
Go
it
ahead.
cute.
I'm keeping it cute. Well, first of all, Mitchell and I are neighbors. First of all, we love Tammy. But listen, all y'all that like Mitchell be Mitchell in person, okay? Even if he's still in anesthesia, okay? I had to just let him know that. But there were just so many amazing people. Shout out to Ozzy, my baby daddy. Shout out to PG, Matt Dawson, Daniel Liu. Who else am I missing?
Joey
Someone-
Sasso,
Desi Williams.
Desi, the people from the Circle, people
Damien
from Perfect.
from Love Is. Apparently, he's a big Survivor fan, so that was cool to get Damien from Love Is Blind and Perfect Match there.
Shout out.
Calvin from Perfect Match in the Circle.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were.
But-
I mean, yeah.
And yeah, Joey, no joke, had surgery on his collarbone the day before. So the fact that he pulled up was really, really awesome.
Right. It was
Who did?
true. Mitchell.
You said Joey. That's all I'm saying.
Did I?
You did say Joey.
I was gonna say we could play it
Joey
back.
Joey was sick the day before too, so maybe that's why.
Yeah, Joey pulled up. He was a real one too. I walked as soon as I saw him. I walked right up to him. He's a solid dude, man.
Right. And shout out to Ned's D-Class podcast, Devin pulling up. He was such a huge surprise for the people. And also just shout out to High for saying, Brice, you need to invite Devin. I invited Devin and he pulled up. So it was just great having so many amazing people in the building. And if you think, that's all for the season, we coming back with the boom boom. We are headed to Seattle March 29th. Tickets are available. And listen, the guest list that is emerging, you don't want to miss it, okay? You don't want to be hiding out in. And Atlanta is coming April 5th. That is where my alma mater Morehouse is. So, I got a lot of people over there. And Atlanta is, I'm just excited
Where
to
you
get
what?
back. My alma mater.
You're what?
My
That's right in the your alma mater.
Yeah.
ARMA.
Mater.
MATA. Okay. But whatever you're trying to say, what's the school?
My alma mater. Armada. Wait, how do you say it, Jack?
Alma mater.
That's what I said. Alma mater.
Alma
And then
Alma
if you
mater.
say it right, he always comes back with, yeah, that's what I said. Armada.
Alma mater.
Spanish Armada.
Morehouse.
You didn't go there.
I did. You can ask my good friend of the pod, Guy.
You went to Les house, Brice.
Sorry,
Sorry, that was terrible.
Yeah, I just kind of went with
I
it for
get it.
you.
Yeah, that was bad. All right.
But yeah,
Yeah.
let's our official moderator of season 44, the Jackery, give us a breakdown on the breakdown of episode 3.
Yes, sir. Great watching this episode with you guys at the party, and had to give it a rewatch after because the party's always so popping. But I mean, shoot, we kick it off right back at Tika, the Purple Tribe, and Helen had just been voted out, and we get back to camp, and it's one of those classic sort of post-tribal breakdowns where, basically Sarah was the only one left out of the vote, so we kind of see how the majority of people, Jam, Carolyn, and Carson handle it, and Sarah kind of has that. I think Sarah handles it pretty well, where she's like, you thought Helen and I were best friends, but honestly, guys, it's all good, like whatever. But then we see her in confessional saying like, basically the opposite, like I'm like done with these guys, like like I'm not gonna trust them for a second. And I think we see Carson as sort of like the figurehead of this majority, where I think he's playing a good game, but now it's sort of that perception of him as sort of an innocent young kid is starting to fade a little bit. And we see Sarah talking about he's the most dangerous one because he's the one really pulling the strings. He looks so trustworthy, but he's clearly not. And she says she still even trusts him the most, and that just speaks to how good of a player he is. what do you think about like the position of sort of the Tika tribe right now, as far as like does Sarah have any hope? Is Carson's game kind of gonna like what's kind of the verdict on, or the potential for Carson's game if he's gonna play this way, and just kind of your general thoughts?
I mean, two things come to my mind is that like when Sarah says that about Carson, it's like, but if Carson would have went with you and y'all got rid of Carolyn, who would have been the most strongest player in the game? Like, so just thought that was interesting. I think Carson is playing a great game. I do think that his target level is rising a lot. And I worry for my Harry Potter because I don't want him to get into a situation where it's like, if it's time to vote someone else out, obviously we know Sarah is going to be vying for him. But in my opinion, I really think Jam Jam is not getting enough credit because I feel like Carolyn is kind of like was off by herself. And it was like Jam Jam that was like, I got you, you got me. And clearly I feel like between Carolyn and Jam Jam, Jam Jam is like really the one that is, listen, I got you, like whatever we need to do. So I really think, because again, Carson is kind of like out in solo land. He's playing both sides of the field, but now he can't. And Sarah is by herself. So it's really like this pair of Carolyn and Jam Jam that really will be the force of this tribe. And they can kind of decide if they want to go with Sarah or Carson. And so for me, it's kind of like Jam Jam really is gearing himself up to be the leader of this tribe
and to make a long run. He's probably in one of the best positions in that tribe because he's so friendly and likable, first of all. So I feel like if he gets to any swap or any merge, he's going to find his way in with people. But also I feel like because Carson's threat level has risen so much, I think you got Sarah, who she's hurt by this guy. And I think you have people knowing that the guy is smart and willing to make moves. So I'm interested. When I originally looked at a Carson, I just thought he was going to be like a Xander type person, like get to the end, whatever, which he still might, but his threat level is now rising. It's clear. So we'll see about that.
But also his adorableness level is rising at the same time. So it's like, I really think he has this really interesting balance of, again, you look at him like your little 13-year-old brother that you might be able to get mad at him. Like, what are you doing? Put my shoe down, Carson. But then when you'll forgive him, and then it's like, okay, you can wear my shoe. So I just feel like Carson he's just got the thing that worries me from my baby brother Carson is that he, as compared to a Jam Jam is kind of sort of riding his own course. He's like, being the lovable, like, falling to the ground, like, Jam, what you doing? As far as a Carson, where he kind of has created this path of like, I want to stay undercover. Didn't work for me well, but I want to stay undercover, but I also need to like be strategic and lie. I don't know. It's a harder road, I think, for Carson, because it's like, well, you can't be adorable and you can't be cutthroat. So
he's getting in with everybody. So eventually, kind of the rubber meets the road, and he has to pick a side and then like kind of betray some of his allies.
Right.
Yeah.
Can we also give a shout out to our Icebox Queen, Carolyn?
Oh,
she has an idol. She made it out without having to use the idol, and she had a great confessional. I think she said like, I'm playing Survivor and doing it good in two separate shoes. Just like it's like the silly things that make her, whatever comes out of her mouth makes you laugh. So shout out to her, friend of the show.
Yes.
Yeah, she's been great.
She's amazing. And again, one of the most underestimated players this season, which we say Jam Jam's in the best position, but I mean, really, if you take a look at it, it's like it's Carolyn that really is in a great position. So, we are rooting for her.
Dare I say, I'm sorry to continue and belabor it, but Carolyn with an idol, she's learned to keep it in her pocket there. If she's one of these these Nora type characters that like people allow to just strange, unique themselves to the end, and she makes a fly idol move towards the end, who knows? Who knows what that upside could be? I'm just saying.
The only thing I'm going to say is if you hide the idol, do not hide it in no poo. That's it. Find somewhere else. Can not to cut you off course, but what is the Orange Tribe?
Ratu.
Ratu. Can we just give a quick little shout out or homage to
Oh,
Kane
Yeah.
the Knight?
He's been a dungeon master for 4 years.
Yes, the dungeon master, and now has been elevated to a Survivor Knight. I didn't know what to make of Kane, right? When the first couple of episodes, first of all, he targeted my Philly brother. He just say like, "I'm going where the votes are." Like, but what I love about this editing of Kane is that like we see him singing, "Oh Canada, oh Canada," and then we see him, like
Yeah, he's funny.
I'm like. I was like maybe making a preemptive judgment, like, oh, I ain't gonna like Kane. But then we get this funny side of Kane, which for me is like, and if this is the Kane that he's getting in his tribe, then they're loving him. But also at the same time, we see that Kane can give a straight face and give very much like, I'm just going with the votes. So I was interested to see a little bit more of Kane's personality this episode.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Kane's been a lot of fun. Can you pull that picture back up? It's funny because I remember at the challenge, Jeff says like the sword didn't quite fit that, and you can almost see in this picture the top of the sword is like a little bent. Maybe that could just be like the photo, but it's funny that he probably already was like slashing stuff with it and bent it.
Have y'all ever been in a sword fight?
Flag on the flag.
Go somewhere. We know where you get.
What?
Go somewhere.
I played Knights in Jungles.
Go somewhere.
So, anyways, and then on that note, though, we also see Brandon, kind of in the same clip. He's a kind of a Renaissance man. Obviously an ex-NFL player, but does a whole lot more. And for the tribe, he's catching fish heard he's a good karaoke-er. But yeah, we're getting a lot of more personal content from, Kane, Brandon, and kind of just like a lot. Like there's been fewer reward challenges this season, so we had more time for that personal content, but also for, I guess, sort of the idle bird cages. I feel like every episode we get a new sort of chapter in that story too, and that's been really well developed.
Right. I think it's so great to see Kadam's story. Like this guy, you look at him, he's the biggest, strongest guy, right, in the world, and for him to, I think someone said something like, "You can do this," and he was like, "I can do everything," or something like that, which scared me a little bit. Like, yo, don't tell him that you're so good at everything,
right?
And also getting this montage of his all the things that he does. And we saw CC too. Shout out to his girlfriend. Yeah, it's just this montage of this guy that really can do everything. Fly, he can eat, he was on one of them jet stream things where I don't know what it's called, but it scared me. Like, man, we're getting this montage because my boy's about to get voted out. But then he goes into the water to go catch his fish, and it only looked like he came out with one fish in hand. But they were eating some fish, and I just wanted to say I appreciate them showing like the multiple sides of this guy who one might think, oh, he's a former football player, kind of like a jock type of whatever, but no, this man does it all.
Yeah. Kudos and piggybacking on you, right? And especially for Brandon to be a black man, and a lot of the things that they are showing him do, historically, you don't normally see black men doing that on TV. So just to show this well-rounded person on TV who happens to be an ex NFL player, but he also can cook, he also can fish, did you see him on that diving board?
I didn't see him.
He went, I said, oh my God.
You see him on a snowboard?
I saw him on a snowboard. I said, now what in the world do we have here? So it's like I'm loving the the diversity of the black men that they are showing. It really kind of sort of reminded me of a Danny McCray, and just of how versatile and how humbling and how all of the things that Danny was. So yeah, we really like Brandon over here.
Respect.
Yeah. Now we kick it over to Soka, where we see a little bit more of the Matt and Franny showmance blossoming, talking about a road trip. But we kick it over to Danny, who it seems like he's sort of at the center of this tribe now, and things are sort of developing the way he's hoping them to. A, with the Matt and Franny showmance painting a target on themselves, but B, we see him go ahead and rehide the fake idol with the real note in the birdcage, plant the key, and we see this whole sequence of events of the Soka tribe going and searching for the key, and ultimately Matt finds it. Matt goes to the birdcage, gets the fake idol, which he thinks is real, and then we also see Danny calling Matt out in front of Josh about what he found, which ultimately forces Matt to separately tell that Danny and Josh that he found the idol. And of course, Matt also tells Franny. So Danny's whole plan of taking the heat off his back by getting sort of a fake idol out in the tribe works pretty seamlessly. So I just kind of want to hear your guys' thoughts on like that whole sequence of events. It's like, do you think
Oh my!
Brice is eating a CBS receipt right now?
You better pause. You better swallow it too.
Oh
my gosh!
Yeah. What did you guys think of
Brice really just ate a long receipt or whatever, just like Danny did. Go ahead, Brice. I'll let you.
Yeah, Brice. What do you think about? I mean, there's so many different kind of aspects to this whole Soka series of events, but what do you think?
Yeah, well, it's the first time we've seen Danny with glasses on, so I have you hear my voice that sound.
Yo, throw that paper. Well, that's the first time.
Danny makes paper looking easy. This is the first time we see Danny with the glasses on, and I don't know if this but I am loving this Danny that we are seeing. He is what seems like to be the only one that is on this tribe playing the game or like actively taking a role and playing, which I will say love, but also it scares me because I feel like it's almost like reminding me of like a little bit of a Sammy.
Oh, Sammy.
Like, Sammy like wanted to make these like big moves, but I am absolutely loving it. I was cracking up when Danny was like, the grass is about 1/2 feet tall and like the shrubbery. And so you got to be careful when you walk by to go back to the birdcage to put this thing. But I was like, well, Danny, why are you ducking? You could just walk.
Don't make fun of my man's height.
No, we love Danny. But I thought that was priceless. When Danny pulled up on Matt and Josh, and Matt was just like, what's up? And then Danny was like, hey, I trust you guys. But what'd you put in your pocket? Matt was like, nothing. Nothing. And then Josh just like took 2 steps, and then Matt was like, I trust you. I found the idol. Like it was just like the most smart planning on Danny's part. Because like, I mean, if moving the car was a person, I call Danny the tow truck. But maybe it's supposed to be moving the needle of the game, or like delivering the threshold of shields, or I don't know. But Danny was doing the thing.
Great analogy. Let's unpack this a little bit. Do you think that was the proper way of calling him out, guys?
No and yes.
Jack?
I kind of agree with Brice. I mean, I think it worked well enough, but I always worry, like, when you call someone out in front of another person, like, if I'm Matt in that situation, I'm going to be like, bro, why did you just do that to me? Like that, I would have beef with that person and like it would definitely hurt. I feel like it would damage my relationship with them because I'm like, if you're my ally, just come to me. Like, at least just come to me separately. Like, why are you calling me out in front of someone that,
Yeah,
as far as we know, they're not like super tight? So
come on the humbug. You don't need to like blow me up. But also, I'm wondering who is Danny's number one on that tribe?
It's after seeing the episode and hearing a little bit, I wonder if it's Josh.
I think it's probably Josh.
Yeah.
Because it would have to be, because who else is he talking to? Because a lot of people on Drop said Josh was talking to him. So I would think that it's Danny. But again, I also think that, like, yeah, you don't want to make a huge scene, but I think the importance of Danny calling Matt out in front of someone was that, like, so Danny wouldn't have to go tell the story, so that the story would get wheels and drive off on its own.
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely a benefit to having, so like nothing can get lost in translation. Like,
Right.
I'm asking you in front of my people.
Yeah.
And I wonder if because again, I think, like you said, most people, if you did that to me, like, it's war. But I think also doing it to someone like Matt, who what we see is just a fun-loving, like, wouldn't get mad at too much type of person. I really think that it worked well in the situation. But again, at this point, Danny's whole mission was to get anyone's trail of him having the idol off of him and to put a target onto someone else, and he successfully did that.
Yeah. That's where, though, I'm like, I don't know. We've talked a lot about how in like previous episodes how this fake idol could be used, and I just feel like planting it and putting it on someone else like isn't necessarily the most effective way. Because also we've seen in recent seasons like people knowing about having an idol, even if it's like in the situation fake, could still be better for the idol holder. Because now we even see like Josh, I think, said, "Oh, well, now that Matt has like an idol, it makes Matt and Franny a lot harder to target." And so it's just that sort of thing where, like, even though the idol's not real, if people now think that Matt has an idol, then they're going to stay away from targeting Matt and Franny, and that could actually put Danny in a worse position. And Danny knows it's fake, but how could he be like, "Oh, well, that idol's fake"? Like, because then they're going to be like, "How would you know that?" So it might actually work out better for Matt and Franny. And like, I don't know. I think it's
because now they're a duo and they have protection, or they have what seems to be protection to
exactly
Danny.
So I mean, Danny definitely went for like kind of the classic approach of just planting the fake idol, but I don't, and it worked according to plan, but I don't know necessarily that that's going to be the best move. Because, like, for example, now, not to get too ahead of ourselves, but with Claire having been voted out, my assumption is that Danny, Josh, and Heidi are like an alliance, and then that would put Matt and Franny on the outside. But now it's harder for that majority of three to easily just vote for one of those two because they think they have an idol, and the only person that knows that they don't is Danny, but he can't really say anything about it without exposing himself. So it kind of just makes things a little more complicated.
I have something to offer. I would have loved to see a Jesse Lopez in Danny's spot right here, because the way his brain just thinks of like super next level stuff. So I feel like him with an idol and a fake, he would find a masterful way of doing it different than just hiding the idol. That's all.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So now we have a couple fake idols that people think are real are in play, and then we have I guess we'll get to that in the next scene, but we got more idols, more real idols in play. So we kick it back over to Ratu, where we see Jamie sort of lead the charge on eating raw worms with Kane and Lauren. Before we get much farther with it, what do you guys think about this scene? And would you guys, especially, I mean, you guys have played when you're on the island. Do you think you would have been hungry enough to eat a worm.
Are you teeing this up for Brice? Like, look at his face. Do you really want to ask Brice Isaiah, or should I preemptively whistle? Because go ahead and ask Brice Isaiah if he wants to eat a worm. Go ahead.
I don't need to be.
Earthworm from the
I don't.
ground.
I don't need to be on Survivor, and I don't need to be hungry, Jack.
What's wrong with y'all, man?
Jack, you knew.
And I really didn't think about it until you said that, but I guess some of us think about worms differently. But all jokes aside, an actual earthworm.
If it don't wiggle, it's not jiggle. Like I would. And actually, I would say this before we recorded. I went out in my backyard and dug a little bit to see if I could find a worm because I was going to eat it live, but I couldn't find one.
That would have been crazy.
Say no more. I might plant something. I think these fools got too much free time on their hands. I'm not. No, like y'all just want to eat a worm.
Mm-hmm.
What's one worm gonna do for you?
Yeah.
It's full of protein and nutrition.
I mean, I guess if you get past the mental barrier, then it doesn't really matter. And we see Jamie say she's like digging for more. So maybe she's on a strict worm diet. She's on the Brice Isaiah diet.
Yeah.
but no, I agree. I don't think I'd want to eat a worm.
But you're on Survivor. Why not? Like, I feel like this reminded me of when we were back on the Solana beach in the Philippines and Cagayan, we had found hermit crabs. And so we were like putting them into our rice to make our rice taste a little like crab rice.
A hermit crab is a crab. A worm is slimy and gross.
Exactly.
I don't know. I get it. I'm also just not good with like gross foods, so I just don't think I'd be able to like. I'd probably throw up. But
so
I need a hermit crab for sure.
I mean, they actually were kind of nasty, but I like to.
Anyways, so on Jamie's quest for more worms, she goes with Matthew, and she finds what looks to be some sort of idol with Matthew, and then we come to find out that Matthew actually found the real hidden idol that Brandon had played a few days back and planted, or he used the note to make a fake and then plant that fake wisely by the well where someone's sort of like destined to find it. And Jamie ultimately ends up finding the fake. So guys, what do we think about this?
Prior to Jamie finding it, watching the episode, I felt like Matthew was extremely too excited because if you watch the episode, he's like, that looks like a great spot for worms. And I was like, why is he doing that? And then when it came to come out that like it was the idol, and then we found the idol. Now, I want y'all to go on this theory with me because I have a theory. We don't know, but I call this theory Brandon's idol cage. Could the idol that Brandon played, right? And if y'all remember on the first episode when Brandon brought his idol to the group, right? We just saw him read. It was an idol. And then we just celebrated with him. It wasn't until Danny got his idol that we saw that it came with a fake, right?
No, we saw that Brandon had a fake when he found it.
We saw he had a fake?
Yeah.
I don't know that to be true because I rewatched the episode. Anyway, so we saw, or did they in the tribe see?
We both. Like he just like pulled out the idol. He's like, this is an immunity idol. And then he went to the other one. He's like, and this is a fake idol that has no power. And everyone was like, oh.
Interesting.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, because I started thinking like, man, what if that was Brandon's fake?
Well, it still potentially could because it's like what happened to Brandon's fake idol? Did he have to turn them all in?
Was that the coin one?
No, I think I think Brandon probably still has his fake idol.
So I mean, right. And so then, Matt.
But I think it looks different than the one that Jamie has.
Well,
But
yeah,
what-
because Matt made that one.
Yeah, but what if we get some other flashback that Brandon, the Renaissance man, made a fake one and planted that with the real parchment that Matt found. Then Matt made a fake one.
But I don't think so, because they all saw what the fake one looked like at.
No,
you're
I'm
saying he made a new one.
Yeah.
That's definitely possible. That would be crazy, but I think because Brandon played his real one, there was one that was re-hidden. So it's I would guess that it's a real one. But
okay.
But it's definitely possible. That would be crazy.
I mean, yeah.
Because wait a minute, because we don't see. Do we see foot? Where did we see Matt find it? It was just in that flash.
We just saw him on the ground.
Right? Okay, all right.
It's true, because I was a little surprised that I figured production would probably rehide the idol in the birdcage again, right? Or no?
Or now it's just a regular idol, and I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
we'll see.
I guess that's definitely a possibility. That would be pretty insane if it was just like a chain of like fake idols going on. But I don't know. It's sort of similar to what Danny did with hiding the fake. Like, I think people love to make a fake and hide it, but I don't know in this era of Survivor that's always the right move. Like I would think that Matthew and Jamie are kind of close, and so it's like when it just so happens that Jamie finds the fake idol, like.
You're doing your own partner wrong.
Yeah, you're kind of doing your own people dirty. Now, maybe he wanted her specifically to find it because he did walk to the well with her and sort of like prompt her to, but like the benefit of giving your ally a fake. I guess people want to take the heat off of them by like framing other people as having the idol, but the heat's not really on you if there's not like a reason for there to be. It's kind of just as likely as for anyone else to have it.
But I guess if you are playing the play, and we know Matthew was climbing to the top, even if you're my closest ally, it's very clear that Matthew was coming to Survivor to play. So it's like, even if you're my closest person, I still want to have something that I could throw against the wall to see if it sticks. My next question is, if everyone saw and knew that there was a fake idol, why wouldn't Jamie question it at all?
I don't know.
That's a good question.
I'm just saying, like, I'm just wondering.
I guess because the fake, the one that she found was different, and then like obviously it came with a real note, but of course like Brandon would have a real note. I mean, yeah, I would probably question it, like if it's just tucked in the corner of the well, and it was made of like beads and string. Like, we know most Survivor, I guess not all, but like most Survivor idols this day and age are like legit like things that you can't just make with beads and string. So,
well, there were a
couple that were
I feel like this season one was a string with beads,
right?
Oh yeah, I guess Carolyn, I think her idol is like that.
There were 3 different idols, and yeah.
Or no, anyway. Carolyn's was the silver medallion,
right? And
her fake was the beads and string.
Yes, but so that means someone's real was beads on a string also. Because Danny's
I'm
fake
not sure, because it would have. No, Danny's real one was like. I think Danny's real one was Brandon's fake one, but if I remember correctly, I don't know that Brandon's real one was like beads on a string. I think it was different. But okay, yeah, I guess it's very possible that the idol could just be like beads on a string, but. I don't know. I'd definitely be skeptical of, especially knowing that there was fake idols planted in the birdcage. I would be very skeptical of like that sort of finding of an idol.
Mm-hmm. I was under the impression that there were 3 reals and 3 fakes, which means, and that 2 of them, like 1 real and 1 fake, there were the same. There were 3 pairs, and one of the real ones was a real. And then that same thing was a fake on a different island.
I'm not sure, because I know that Danny's fake was Carolyn's real, and I think Danny's fake was Brandon, or I think Danny's real was Brandon's fake, but I'm not sure that Carolyn's fake one was. I would assume that loop like is complete, but I don't know that Danny's real one was like just the beads on the string.
I remember Danny's fake being the medallion. That's all I remember.
Yeah, that's
But
cool.
anyway,
And Brandon's fake one was a medallion, and his real one is a hanging. I just
Oh, it
remembered.
is. Oh, then yeah,
Yeah.
I guess it is a complete loop of fake and real,
all right.
which is good. But
That's gonna make for some fun times because if you just played a real medallion and you get past the merge and someone has a medallion, you thinking that thing is real, but it's a fake.
yeah,
That's good. That's gonna be fun.
yeah,
This is a really fun season so far.
I would agree.
yeah. So I guess it's easier to say to watching from home, knowing how everything is, but definitely can't trust an idol these days, especially if you just find it like next to the well, But next up, we get to the immunity challenge, which involves rolling a massive wooden cube in the water to retrieve keys, and then you got to work your way under like a pole through the sand to retrieve these big colored blocks and solve like the vertical color puzzle where each side has to have all 4 colors and no repeats. And they're playing for the winner gets a big set, like a toolkit and a lot of fruit, and then the second place team gets like a smaller toolkit and a smaller basket of fruit. But we see that, I guess, just to summarize, we see that Ratu kind of crushes it, and they solve the puzzle pretty quickly, and then it results in the other 2 tribes sort of starting to like take a glance at their puzzle, although I don't really know how much that would necessarily help because the only thing you could see is like the top color that might give anything away, right? I guess.
No,
'Cause,
I
like,
mean, if you're looking at it and you understand, you see, like, if I see a blue is facing me on the bottom, and on top of that, a green is facing me, maybe that could be a place.
oh, true, yeah. And I guess you could say like, oh, the blue is like second from the top on like this one, like okay, yeah, fair. But yeah, both tribes, and then ultimately, Tika is able to sort of complete a little comeback and finish the puzzle, which sends Soka to their first tribal council. We also see in this challenge that Claire sits out again, and Jeff once again asks her like sort of the logic behind that. So yeah, what do you guys think of this challenge in general? Like, Claire has yet to play an immunity challenge. Like, do you guys think what do you guys think of the logic behind that? Just give me your general thoughts.
I love these challenges, these big tribe challenges where you got to do a lot. First of all, love them. They are grueling, and I think what we've witnessed was Claire sitting out enough that it eventually hurt her. These grueling challenges bond people, and when you're out, it's like battling with each other, and when you do those things, you get closer to people. And if someone keeps on sitting out, it's like, what can you do? What are you contributing? So, it's tough. And she had an argument, hey, I look at the tribe, and if they're saying that this is the way we can be strongest, I'm for the tribe. But in this end, we can get into this format and the things that this 3-tribe format leads to, like multiple women getting eliminated early and things like that. But in this case, we could get to that later. But in this case, I think her sitting out for 3 consecutive challenges kind of it just gave them an easy target. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't disagree with like her logic, and I think it's all pretty reasonable. But I do think at some point you have to have that dog in you to step up and be like, you know what, I want to compete today, and I want to prove that like. If she does think she is the weakest on her tribe, which I don't even know if that is true, then like sure, it's pretty selfless of you to sit out every challenge, like not make a complaint about it. But in that sense, you are sort of accepting that you are the weakest, and so it's like it just kind of gives reason to vote you out. And like you said, Wendell, like they even talk about it when they're discussing the vote. Like you do get like the challenges are like you're going to battle with these people, and you'd rather keep around the people that you fought with than someone who's like sitting on the bench every time.
Yeah, and it's also good to mention that they had to sit out 2 people this time. So it wasn't just like Claire sitting out, it was Claire and
Heidi,
Heidi.
I think.
So yeah, and again, I think that Claire makes a great logic when she is advocating for herself, like and again, kind of sort of jumping around. But ultimately, I think that you got to get in the ring. So yeah. But again, like, and I've said this before, there are times when you're out there and Wendell, when people have to sit out, sometimes people will just stare at each other and even when people don't want to do it, they don't want to say that they don't want to do it. So they'll just literally and Jeff will be like, 2 seconds, let's go, let's go, let's go. So I also just kind of sort of want to give Claire credit in that instance, because sometimes somebody really does just have to sit out, and her just saying it can alleviate and do more. But sometimes you have to just sit in those awkward situations and then make a group decision. But yeah, it was interesting.
I think it's a balance, like if even from like the Survivor experience I've had, like playing with you guys, for example, that it's similar thing where some challenges like nobody wants to sit out. I can always respect when someone is like, hey, this particular challenge, like maybe like swimming isn't my strong suit, so I'm happy to sit this one out. But because if someone is like not a good swimmer, but they refuse to sit out, that's going to hurt them a lot more than if they just sit out. You know what I mean? Like you don't have anything to prove if you're the worst one. But at some point, it's like if you sit out every challenge, it's kind of like, well, are you good at anything? Like you got to prove to the team, like, and I think that Claire would be solid in the challenges. So it's like, but you're not. I don't know if Soka has, say it's like basketball and like Claire is like their 6th man and the rest is like their starting 5. Well, if you have to kick someone off the team, you might be like, yeah, we've been winning and like Claire's been a good 6th man, but why would we get rid of a starter when we could just get rid of Claire? So it's just kind of like, I don't know. I think at some point you just gotta step in and like. But then again, it's like they have been winning, so maybe Claire's like, well, if I keep sitting out, we're just gonna keep winning, and then I don't even have to worry. So it's kind of a catch-22.
And it's also like in the new era where the immunity and the reward challenge are all one. In older eras, when you have a reward challenge and immunity challenge, they specifically say the same person can't sit out twice. And so I wonder if, how that would affect Claire if we actually had a reward challenge and we actually had a immunity challenge. Just me thinking, because
I agree. I think it is weird that she was able to sit out back to back to back to back, but then again, it's like if there's no reward challenges, to say that someone can't sit out twice in a row could end up being potentially kind of unfair, because say there's a challenge where they have to sit out 3 people, then the next, like, I don't know. It's a weird, if like from a Survivor production standpoint, it's kind of a weird decision to make.
Yeah. I loved when they went back and the tribe kind of started breaking off and things happening, and Danny taking a very clear lead in his talking with Josh and Franny about him wanting easy peasy for it to be Claire. And I thought was so interesting was when we hear Franny, and Franny is talking to Claire about Matt. And although, some people might think Franny is in love with Matt and she's head over heels, I think this episode for me clearly opened my eyes to, listen, my girl Franny might be a nerdy in love and talking about all that stuff, but she sees the game for what it is. And she is saying that Matt is a very malleable player, and we can use him how we want. I said, well, wait a minute, girl, that's supposed to be your man. Okay, Franny.
Brice.
Sorry, I'm just trying to find me a man that I could, be malleable with. But listen, I said, okay, Franny, and so she makes this case that's like, we need to keep Matt and we need to keep Claire, and now we need to target Josh, which is just so interesting because it's like, I love this new editing and then I don't love this new editing. I love the new editing because it literally just keeps your what is it? Keeps your
Keeps
hands
you
on your toes.
toes.
Yeah, keeps your feet on your toes. But in the in the same,
It does. That's not an expression.
it keeps your feet on your toes.
It just keeps
Oh,
you on your toes.
Okay. Oh.
It keeps your feet on your. It keeps your toes on your feet.
Keeps your socks on your toes.
Y'all know what I meant. I like it because you are learning new things as the episode goes. However, it's like Franny brought up Josh. Now, first of all, I love my girl Franny, but don't come after my daughter. Like, Josh is like, a child of mine. So now I'm like, antennas up. But hearing throughout the game that like Josh hasn't communicated, we've heard that from Heidi, we've heard that from Claire, we've heard that from Freddie. It really kind of makes you think. But because we don't see much of like the camp life, sometimes us just seeing them at camp really tells us a lot about things. Like for instance, when Kane and was singing "Oh Canada," like, and maybe this is just the type of watcher that I am. I'm noticing who is sitting right next to him. And it's Brandon. And I'm thinking to myself, like, have Kane and Brandon patched it up? Like they're close in proximity. And then I'm looking at who's in the realm. And so that's why sometimes I just like random shots of them just doing silly, funny things. Because again, when you look on the Purple Tribe, Carolyn is always with Jam Jam. Like, it's like we never really saw Carolyn alone with Sarah. So it's just interesting learning these new informations. But now they target him, my baby Josh, and I'm like, oh no, what's going on? And don't mean to be the most long-winded. The other person that for me, I said, who they're playing the game is Queen Heidi. Because how many times have you been in awkward situations with people and you kind of just give in to the awkwardness, or you try not to make it awkward, or you're like, you'll give a person an answer that you think they want to hear. Heidi's not that girl. Because when Claire came to Heidi and Claire was like, listen, Heidi, literally my vote come. And also, kudos and shout out to Claire, because like Claire, like she deal with money, $1 million of money. Like I loved how personalized she made her point to Heidi, because like literally my life is on your line. Like I'm like, okay, Claire, I see them communicational skills. And in that situation, Claire's like, well, girl, where you at with it? Heidi said, I don't know. Claire was like, well, you saying I don't know really means that. And Heidi said, I know. Like, like Heidi didn't waver or didn't like give her a false sense of hope. She really just stood in that moment. And I was just like, wow, that is.
What is that, Brice? What is that, though? If you're letting someone know that they're the target, what is that?
She's not letting her know that she's the target. However, she just didn't give in to like being, because I feel in those situations, somebody could say you're safe and you know that you're not safe. Like, I feel like she was just letting her know, like, I don't know where I'm at with it.
And I don't know you're saying, and I don't know is better than a lie in that situation.
Because the way I'm thinking about it is, if it was solid enough, would Claire even need to approach you with this conversation? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're my close ally, I shouldn't be coming to you in the 9th hour being like, Wendell, where's your vote? So I feel like you already know it's what if, and it's like, I don't know. I just felt like, and maybe it's bad on Heidi, but as a viewer, I just was like, wow, I really like how she just kind of was like, I really don't know where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying.
I respect someone keeping it funky with you, but I'm just trying to figure out is that the best Survivor gameplay? I don't know.
She didn't say no. She didn't say yes. And then when Claire was hugging, she gave her a hug and like embraced her. So it wasn't like she was nasty. I'm just saying, like, she just was. For me, I just felt like, I don't know what it did for me, but I was just like, there was just something in that moment where I was like, okay, Heidi, I see you. And again, also, kudos to Claire for like, again, like making everything so personal and direct. Like, what's up? And again, maybe Claire walked away from that conversation and being like, I need to do more work.
Yeah. So that's my question to you. If we sit down and have a conversation that leads the person on the chopping block to understand that they need to do more work.
But she already knew she was on the chopping block.
Okay. All right. Respect.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think it's a very particular circumstance, and this might be one of them for Heidi, where I guess you're sort of the clear cut swing vote, where if you're honest with Claire, there's not really a way she's going to be able to flip it onto you. And I think coming with some, I don't know about the I don't know, but I think in this situation, being able to pull off like the, you know what, like I honestly can't give you an answer right now because I need to go talk to some people, and like I'll see what I can do for you because I like you, but I need to go make sure it's okay with other people because right now the ball's not in my court. You know what I mean? And I think go that approach rather than just like straight up lying, you know, for Heidi's long term could work, because if you come to find out that Heidi's the type of person who will be honest with you in the sense that she's gonna be like, you know what, like I can't tell you that I'm gonna vote with you this round. Down the line, if Heidi's able to use that reputation to pull off a lie in a more important situation, then that could pay dividends. Whereas I guess a direct sort of opposite to that is sort of the way Carson's doing things, where he's playing a good game, but his first tribal, he tells everyone what they want to hear.
Right.
Now go down the line, if I'm like relying on Carson for a vote and he's like, yeah, I got you, I'm gonna be like, well, that's what you told Helen, so how am I supposed to trust that? Whereas if Heidi was like, oh, I got you, I'll be like, okay, well, when she voted Claire out, she didn't lie to Claire, so Heidi must be rocking with me. So, I mean, I definitely think it probably depends on timing too. I'd be interested to see, like, was it the 11th hour that this conversation happened, or was it early in the day? Because if it's an early in the day type of thing, and you're basically telling someone like, yeah, I don't know if I could be the one to save you, well, then you give them the rest of the afternoon to go pull moves, and honestly, like that vote can end up on you because they know that you might not vote with them. So I think it's very situational, but I think Heidi actually handled it pretty well.
Yeah.
I don't know, Wendell. What do you think?
No, I'm just wonder, like, Heidi seems really cool under pressure, especially in this situation, right, and especially at tribal council. And I'm just trying to figure out, like, I don't know if, like, kind of letting them know, but that's that's one of your people, so it's like you want.
But is it though? Because I remember when, and again, this is where, and I didn't mean to cut you off, but like this is where this editing kind of gets me messed up, is we really don't know who is with who on this tribe. Yeah. And I remember specifically on that first episode when Heidi was down by the fire, I think it was like Franny and Claire were like, let's wait for Danny to go make the fire. And then Heidi said, well, I can make it. So it's like we don't really know who is with who.
It seems to me like, and I was thinking about this, you know, post vote. It does seem to me that there's probably an alliance of like Danny, Heidi, and Josh. And so I think in that sort of situation where on the other side of things you have an obvious duo of Franny and Matt, it's not a bad idea to go for a Claire, because then next vote you have a very clear-cut 3-2 majority where it's not really in anyone's best interest to go with the other duo. Whereas say you vote out a Matt, then it's Franny and, you know, it would leave Franny and Claire on the other side of things, and maybe Heidi's like, you know what, I want, like, that's not a showmance, that's just a duo of girls. Maybe I want to go with the girls, and then she could flip a lot more easily. So sometimes leaving that obvious duo in the game when you still have the majority isn't the worst idea, because you know everyone else is going to be like, well, if I go with them, I'm the third option. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, ultimately we go to tribal, and I think Heidi even sort of said, like, told Claire, like, I didn't really change my mind from earlier. So yeah, Claire plays her shot in the dark, and it fails. And also Matt doesn't have a vote, so Claire ends up going home 4-0. And they talk in tribal more about, you know, tribe strength and sort of I guess it's all sort of based. It is definitely based around the fact that Claire also just wasn't competing in the challenges too.
I guess my one question comes to is that why I understand I understand the reasoning for Claire. I guess I can understand the reasoning for Josh's name to be brought up, but like for me it was just very surprising the fact that Matt found an idol. Matt is a part of a showmance, and Matt's name wasn't brought up.
You just said the reason.
I mean, but I understand the reasoning, but also in the same time, I just feel like in some situations, isn't this normally the time that people be like, we gotta flush the idol out. We gotta flush the
Well, I
idol
think they
out.
did discuss splitting the vote on Matt and Claire, but I mean that obviously is a little bit risky because we do see that Claire has a bit of a rapport with like Franny and Matt. Like if Matt had his vote, this easily could have gone differently. But like that's kind of to what I was saying earlier. Now that everyone knows Matt has an idol, it's hard to be like, oh well, let's vote for Matt. Like it's just we see it time and time again in these recent seasons where if your idol is public information, like it almost is like better than actually having it's almost better to have it public because if people think that you're gonna potentially sniff out a plan, they're just gonna stay away from you when you have an idol.
Or maybe Danny's holding that pressure off to actually use it when he really wants to get rid of Matt, or like to flush the idol out to. I think also just because my mind be changing as you talk and say stuff, but I also think it would be smart to Danny again, like you said, to break up for the next vote to be a Claire and a Matt, but also to hold that power back because actually Danny could pull a huge move off by people thinking that Matt will play the idol, and there's just a lot of hocus stuff that he could do. But I do definitely want to give Claire her props at Tribal. I think that she advocated her side very well in, again, doing what's best for the tribe and what is considered a strong tribe. Is it just strength? Or is it, mind? Is it being able to know when to fold them or when to show them? So I definitely think that Claire did a great job, and I definitely thought like Franny standing up for Claire was great. So I definitely think she advocated for herself and made people really think like, what is best for the tribe?
I think yeah, I think she did a good job at that. And when she was saying, like, all right, is it just brute strength or is it like going into whatever the next phase is with people that you trust or with people that you really can play with? I think there are two ways to look at it.
Yeah. And I mean, clearly we see how the votes went. A clear early favorite, Claire, went home. She's the fourth person out. And again, this is where I then go. She's technically the third boot. So I don't know if it's Helen that joins my illustrious club or Claire, but I would happily have both of these amazing women. But the episode doesn't stop there because Twitters and the Reddit went blazing after they voted Queen Claire out. And shout out to Dr. Amanda, friend of the show, and happens to be my neighbor. She had posted some statistics in the new era of Survivor. Women have been 14 out of 21, 67% of the pre-merge. 10 out of 12 voted out first on their tribe, which is 83%. Since 43, when new players are aware of the format, women have been 7 out of 8 voted pre-merge. That's 88%. 6 out of 6 voted out of their tribe first. That's 100%. I mean, those are some crazy numbers.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. A lot of people attribute it to the 3-tribe format, right?
They do.
Yeah,
and it not swapping before the merge. So you think about physical strength. What's going to get us to the next challenge instead of
And
Yeah.
and what literally was Claire's argument before she left? What you
that
just said.
that there are other kinds of strength. But yeah, and but if this form, but do you blame it on our tribe or do you blame it on this format?
I don't know.
I blame it on the format, Brice. If you have a 3-tribe format and you're not going to have any swaps until the merge, then they just want to go into these challenges and win. And if you're going to throw out in challenges that are heavy on those big whatevers at the beginning and then a puzzle at the end, you're rewarding those physically strong people. You're giving them an incentive to keep those people. So if you ask me, it's the format as opposed to the players.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think it, like, given the history of Survivor, I don't think it's all of a sudden now there's like some increase in like misogyny in the tribes. Not that it might not be present, but compared to 20 years ago, I don't think it's more prevalent. And so I have to agree with Wendell here. It's like if I think we could be going through, 6 challenges as a tribe together, if I lose an early one, it's like, I mean, it's not necessarily true that the women are going to be the weaker players, but if it is a physical challenge, it's going to skew towards there might be a woman on the tribe who's not as well suited to like do all that. For not, but and then also it's like there are some super strong women on these tribes, and they're also not the ones necessarily going out first. Like we see that like Soka say like, oh, Franny and Heidi have really been an asset in the challenges. And so that's why their names weren't really brought up, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting. When is the last time that we've had a 2-tribe season?
Winners at War.
But prior to Winners at War, though.
Island of the Idols. The season before. They were doing 2 tribes for a while because it was Island of the Idols, Edge of Extinction, David versus Goliath, Ghost Island, and then Heroes, Healers, Hustlers was the last 3-tribe before that. And honestly, like with that, so thinking about that stretch of 2-tribe seasons, and then you have Game Changers, you have Millennials versus Gen X. So a lot of those seasons in the 30s were 2-tribe seasons. I'd rather just have a consistent sort of back and forth, to be honest with you, because I love a 3-tribe season, but I do think that like in the 40s, like we've had so far, and I'm sure they'll switch it up. I hope for like 45, 46. But when the format is basically the same every time, it's gonna lead to some trend, like some repeat trends. And this is one of those trends where, and it's also been weird where I feel like a lot of those women that have gone, first are like sort of like even on this season, like you take Maddie, Helen, and Claire, they're probably all around 25 years old. Like it's just kind of funny that like those 3 are very similar in a lot of ways.
Yeah, and but another way to cure it is just throw some swaps in there or something.
100%.
Start off 2, then go to 3, then go back to 2.
Well, yeah,
Or
that
3
too.
to 2, I think is the best. Now in the trailer for the next episode, I mean I kind of missed it because we were at the party, but were they teasing a swap possibly? I don't know. I feel like one of them got like a tree mail, and they were like, maybe I'm completely making that up, but
yeah, no,
they will be at 14, which historically in a 3-tribe, I mean Kageon, for example, they swapped at 14. So I would like a swap. For me, the best format is like 3 tribes, 18 people, swap at 14, merge at 12, and then I think that provides the most like flexibility, the most combinations of people meeting before the merge that creates like a spicier merge. I don't know. Brice, what are your thoughts? Because I think like Wendell and I both kind of blame the format, but I'm sure you have thoughts that.
I mean, I don't think it's just the format. I think that it is. I don't think it's just the format. I'm gonna just leave it at that. I think that it also is like I don't think that it's all the format.
I will say this though. Survivor is they try to do the right thing. So I think that they will respond to this in some way, as far as maybe not making a public response, but in changing the game. I think we'll either see more swaps. We might see tribes start with we might see games starting with 2 teams instead of 3. We might see something.
Yeah.
But if they're going out there within the next couple of weeks for 45, 46, if they're going out there within the next couple of weeks, maybe they didn't plan for that or
Yeah.
any, but
Although I'm sure they maybe thought about it a little bit after having filmed these seasons. They didn't see the response, but hopefully there were producers that might have been like, "Hey, this is a trend that we've noticed." But
Yeah.
to that point in their response, I also hope it doesn't become like swap, because I think there was also a stretch. I mean, Ghost Island jumps to mind where I think you guys swapped two vote outs in, and then you swapped again, and it was just like swap, 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 swap. Like for me, I don't want the constant swaps either. I'd like to see how things play out a little bit with the original tribes, and then switch up the groups a little, maybe once, and that's sort of the ideal balance, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I agree.
But it will be interesting, say on a 45, that if they do three tribes to start, and they might have a swap, but at the start of the game, the players might not even know that there's a swap, so they might operate under the same expectations that have been set in recent seasons, and so that trend could. I think it's. I mean, I guess in terms of like statistics, there's sort of that. As far as like trends go, this is a little, I guess, nerdy, but trends can take a while. Like the change can occur, but then sometimes it could be sort of take some time before the actual behavior of people switches to in the reaction to that change. So it could be a little bit of time before things catch up, but
Yeah. I agree.
I mean, I agree. And again, when I say it's not just the format, I'm not accusing anyone on the season. I'm just saying that it is societal. That like sometimes we, but that's just the way I'm thinking. But enough of anything else you want to add, Wendy?
Without getting too far into this, since this is Survivor news, I just want to say to our listeners that we are a safe space and we are in support of the LGBTQ community.
LGBTQ and trans community.
Yes. We're fully in support of that community. And
wait,
that's where I want to leave what I
just for my own knowledge, Bright, does the T in LGBTQ does that stand for trans, or does that stand for something else?
It stands for trans.
Yeah. Well, specific. Yeah. Well, Brice wanted to be more specific, and I'm with you on that, Brice. We're in support of that community big time, and in all of our actions and the things we say and the things we do, we try to uplift that community and create safe spaces and create understanding for people that are not in the community, and openness to understanding people that live different lifestyles. And that's where we stand. Brice, anything?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree with you wholeheartedly. Yeah. Well, I guess we could wrap this episode up.
Sweet.
There's only one way to wrap this episode up.
I
Brice.
mean, I was waiting for you to say it.
Can we only? Oh god.
Jackery, just buckle on up, okay?
Okay.
Just buckle on up, okay?
Click.
I'ma go first.
Let me get my Shazam out.
I lay my head on my pillow. I started staring out the window, wishing for a sign. That's the reason why.
Pass.
You're always on my mind. When I see you, I scribble X and O's in my notebook, checking how my hair and my nails look. I get nervous in my son. That's When I see you.
I got no clue.
See you.
Someone commented on the last episode that you
Hey,
guys
wait.
need to make me a playlist.
We
And I think
don't.
that's
You
very
need to do your
reasonable.
own studying.
We
This is-
listen to our community, but sometimes you need to be ready.
How am I? There's like a million songs. Like, am I supposed to listen to every song ever and be ready?
You sleep enough, playing while you sleep.
Mm.
I won't hear them.
Yeah. Okay, when DZ, okay, so that was Fantasia When I See You.
I see you. Brice, I got one that we didn't even discuss.
Okay, go ahead.
Me. Hold on a second now.
You need a worm?
Brice is gonna be right. Brice gonna be right there with me as soon as I hit this first note too.
Am I?
Whew.
I don't know every song.
Ooh. Da da do do do. Ooh.
Oh, okay. I know.
Da-da-dum, da-dum,
Ooh.
da-da-dum, da-dum, da-da-dum, da-dum,
The very first time that I saw
da-da-dum.
around eyes, your lips said
Mm-mm.
hello and mine said hi.
Hi.
I knew right then you were
Mm.
the one. But I was caught up in physical action. But satisfaction. Baby, you're more than just a friend.
And if I ever in love again, I will be sure that the man is a friend.
Jack?
So I know a more recent song that samples that, but I don't know the original song.
All right. That would
But
be.
I know the sample is "We" by Jeremiah. I think is.
Oh, true. You're right.
Okay. And
So
you were right about the
that's a-
Ice Spice reference before, Jackery.
Jack,
What, at the party?
No, on the last episode.
Oh yeah. So I know the samples.
Okay.
So for people my age,
I
think I'm doing all right.
I bet we're close in age. Okay, what's another song you got for him?
Wait, that's Shy. If I ever fall in love, first of all. Another
That's
one.
who?
I mean, because I got one.
Who
but,
was that?
Shy. SHAI.
Okay. See,
I
now at
added
least I'm getting some answers, so I can start.
Now, Brice, you mentioned one to me earlier
Mm-hmm.
that I'd like to go with.
Okay, go ahead.
Jack, if you don't know this one, I want you to log off.
Okay.
You ready?
I'd be happy to.
Sorry, Miss Jackson. Woo!
Michael Jackson. Sorry, Miss Jackson. Right? Wrong?
Okay. All right. Oh, Jack.
Oh, no, it's not
Jack.
Michael Jackson. It's
Jack.
Sorry, Miss Jackson. Okay.
Jack.
I am blown away. I am baffled.
Michael Jackson says, "Sorry, Mom."
Jack,
He's a good son.
look it up right now.
I already looked it up. No, I know that. I jumped to my answer because I know the song. Like I could sing. I know the rest of the lyrics.
Jackson. Michael Jackson.
This man heard the word Jackson and said Michael Jackson.
It's Miss Jackson.
Okay, you got the name of the song.
Well, I already looked it up, so I know the artist, but I know like the lyrics. Like if I hear the song, I can sing the lyrics. But I jumped to conclusions.
Sorry, Mom. Sorry,
That's
Mom.
what's going on. You say it's puppy love. We say it's full blown. Hope that you feel.
Is this a different song or the same song?
Feel this way forever. You can plan a pretty picnic, but you can't predict
the weather.
10 times out of 9. Now if I'm lying, fine. The quickest muzzle, throw it on that mouth and not decline. King meets queen and that puppy love thing. Together dream
I
about
have
the
no idea what it is. I hate this segment.
It's the same song, Jack.
It makes me look uncultured, but it's really just I'm too young. Like if you did like hip hop songs from like the 2010s, I'd know them all. But if this is like some 90s,
This ain't 90s. Okay, what's this song,
to
Jack?
make your mama cry, I apologize. See, I know that shit. Look,
Okay.
I know the classics, but I just don't know all the artists.
Okay. I look and stare so deep in your eyes. I touch on you more and more every time. When you leave, I'm begging you not to go. I call your name 2-3 times in a row. Such a funny thing for me to try to explain. How I'm feeling in my song, am I trying to say? Don't understand just how you got me looking so crazy right now. Your love's got me looking so crazy right now. Got me
Crazy in Love, Beyonce.
Oh,
Thank
You
you.
redeemed yourself.
What?
Whew. You redeemed yourself.
Thank you. See, that's a more recent song, right?
I mean, it's been around the same era of a lot of the other ones, and actually, around the same time as Miss Jackson. But anyway, Jack, thank you for playing this.
See, Miss Jackson was released the year I was born. Like, I wasn't bumping that in the womb.
Well, Chris, we got to ask Christine.
I don't think Christine was bumping that either. Throw on some ABBA or something. Some Linkin Park.
Well, listen, this has been. Hold on.
Oh, wait a minute. I have another announcement.
Ooh.
By the time this comes out, Brice and Wen may or may not. Well, soon to be release the finale. Okay. So plus or minus a day, but the finale tickets in New York City will be released very shortly.
Wait, with that being said, I saw on the Instagram. I don't know if we could tell a little bit more about it because I want to know. It's a 2-day.
Oh yeah. We have activities for 2 days, Jackery. We're gonna have a welcome event where people can, mix and mingle a little more because sometimes when there are so many people at the finale parties, everyone can't meet everyone.
Yeah.
So in the interest of everyone being able to meet and see everyone, we're gonna do some sort of a welcome event the day before.
Love it.
Yeah.
And maybe some other things.
Oh.
Ooh.
Okay. Well, this has been your this week's Survivor News. We'll see you next week. This is your baby boy Jack. I'm going back, taking a nap.
Survivor News. 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 Survivor News.